Welcome back to another episode of A Girl Business Podcast. I'm your host, Shelby, and today we are in beautiful Chester. I love Lake Elmore very much. It's probably my favorite area in the entire county. So sorry, a lot of close seconds. But I'm very happy to be at Cravings today with the owner, Christi. Tell us all about your journey and how you got here and doing this.
Okay. Well, I did graduate from Chester High School, 1995, so over 30 years now. Wow. I went off to see the world and go to school and got married, started a family. And when my kids were young, I just couldn't imagine raising them in the city anymore. So I just by kind of a little divine story how we actually got up here. I wasn't expecting it. I was just supposed to come visit my mom, and I never left. And I kind of told my husband, I'm like, well, you should probably come up here because I'm not leaving. So he did. I actually never ever went back to the apartment that we were living in at that time. He just sold everything and moved up here. And we really didn't know how we were going to make it because it can be a tough town. But Carol Franchetti actually had opened a little cafe in Old Town, and it was supposed to keep her busy. And I think it kept her a little too busy, and she decided that she was going to sell it. And so we just happened to inherit just enough money from one of his uncles that allowed us to purchase her restaurant. And every day it was just like, okay, just be in the black today, be in the black. And we started with just he and I. He would wake up at like 3:30 in the morning and come and bake, and he would do all the cooking, and then he would stay till 6 o'clock at night doing all the dishes. And but we were able to offer fresh made food that was really tasty, and I think kind of broke open the dining market in this town, because at that time, it was 11 years ago, there was a diner and a burger shop for the most part, which were great. But we were able to kind of expand on that, and we quickly outgrew that little space that we were in Old Town. And the bookstore was a couple of doors down from us then. And Susan Briner, who was the owner at that time, came and knocked on our door. And she's like, hey, what do you guys think about moving down the street? There's a building across from Holiday Market. And we're like, oh, we love that building. We actually were hoping to be there at one point, but it was kind of a big spot for just us. So the combination of moving in and being roommates with the bookstore was just perfection. So we moved here about 9 years ago, and it's just grown and grown and grown since then. And we're just really proud of what we've built. And yeah, that's kind of the gist of the story there.
So it's been 11 years now.
11 years in June. Yes.
Has it gone by fast?
It has, and it hasn't. But yeah, it's kind of weird. You just blink and you're like, oh wow, it really has been that long. I mean, my daughter was so little that she would sleep in the cabinets behind the counter, and she was going to kindergarten at the time. And now she does the baking. She is practically a grown adult and almost out of high school. A couple more years for her. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it goes by fast. But we've been through a lot. The first few years were just great. Everything was booming and wonderful. And then COVID hit, and that was an interesting development. One thing I noticed about the business is you have to kind of always be on your toes, always adapting to the circumstances. And this town just was incredibly supportive. Anything that we did, they were supporting it, buying it. What we decided to do at that time, because being a breakfast and lunch and people were not leaving their homes, it's like, it's not really very necessary to leave your house to get some eggs for the breakfast. So we said, okay, let's make dinners and we'll deliver them around the lake. And so we did. We just sold basically mostly online. We took some phone calls, and it was just enough to keep us going. And yeah, that's one of the fun things. And then just the different ups and downs, the fires, getting through the fires was another interesting adventure. We were able to stay open for a little while and feed the people who were here fighting the fires, which was an honor. And then we came home and picked right back up. Again, people very supportive. Everybody just wanted to make sure that we were okay, town was okay. And so, yeah, I don't think we could do anything of this caliber in another town, or definitely not the city, just because we run on love. We run on a lot of love here. So, yeah.
Yeah, it has been a strange couple years because it was COVID and then the fire and then all that construction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It seemed like every year there was something. But again, you just kind of adapt and you figure out where your opportunities are and you make the most of them. And by now, 10, 11 years into it, we have a really strong following. I look around and everybody's friend or family or something. It's just, there really aren't very many strangers to us anymore, which is fantastic.
Mm-hmm. And kudos to you guys for adapting, like completely shifting gears and saying, hey, let's deliver dinners.
Oh, yeah. You got to do what you got to do. And fortunately, I have a husband who just, if I say this is what we need, he just jumps up and makes it happen. Mm-hmm. I can cook, but it would take me all day to do one thing that he does. So without him, I know this is a girl podcast, but
no, that's
literally,
okay.
literally this would not be possible. So kudos to him for sure.
Yeah. Shout out to all the men that support us. You
Yeah,
know, that's important too.
Definitely.
To have a good partner.
Mm-hmm.
And especially if you're like, hey, we're moving. So.
Oh, right. Like, I have the kids, so you might want to come.
What did he say? Was he just like, okay, I know that tone?
Yeah, he was. Living in the city it's a grind. It's a different kind of grind. I mean, it's definitely work up here. But like I said, you do everything for love. Down in the city, it's just survival. And so when I told him that I didn't want to go back, I think he was happy to let go of he was working for one of the largest catering companies in LA down there. And he was just always busy, always gone, which is why I came up and I said, I need a low key summer. He's like, oh, why don't you go hang out with your mom for the summer and, just get a job waiting tables. And I thought, oh, that sounds really refreshing. And then I got up here and I didn't want to go. So he was, he's from the city. So it was a little bit of a lifestyle adjustment for him to not have the mall to go to or the movie theaters with all the latest releases, or even the restaurants at that time. There really weren't a lot of choices. So we saw an opportunity to provide something. And like I said, just things fell into place to make it happen. And when that happens, you realize that you're not the one driving the car. You just kind of like, oh, okay, this is where the road is leading, and it's where you should go. So, yeah,
absolutely
happy to have done it. And I think I was telling you before we started rolling that the initial plan was to do this for about 13 years because my youngest child was just starting kindergarten, and we knew, okay, let's have something to provide some income and stability for our family for while the kids are in school. And she's coming up on graduating in the next couple of years. And so now we're looking at each other like, okay, the plan is coming to fruition. What do we do? And part of us is like, okay, let's prepare for the next steps. But then part of me is like, I don't know who I am without this place. So now at this point, it's just take every day as it comes and just see where it leads us. Again, I love this town. I can't imagine being anywhere else. We've created really good friendships and relationships, and we have a lot of fun. It's a seasonal spot, so it's just like get your engines roaring and running all summer long. I don't say no to anything that I love to do, whether I think I can squeeze it in or I'll have the energy. I'm like, I've developed what I call, I don't call it that myself, but they're Navy SEAL naps. So when the Navy SEALs are out in the field and running their missions and they need to rest, they don't actually take a nap. They lay down for maybe 5 minutes and they elevate their feet. And it actually provides you just enough of a rest and rejuvenation that you can continue on with your mission. So in the summertime, that's literally what I do.
How
I run
cool.
from this, I take a Navy SEAL nap, and then I go to my next thing, which, as I was telling you as well, I sing in a band called Feather River Revival, and people out there may have heard of it, maybe seen us play. We play maybe every 3 weeks or so at the country club, on the patio at their restaurant. And then we play a lot of other places. We've actually got a show at Waganupa coming up, late April, April 24th. And we played at Baby G's and Susanville. We do private parties. And so that keeps me busy. And then I'm also started a little karaoke side job because I'm crazy. But when I was younger, my dad was the local karaoke jockey, and he had a little thing that he was doing called Local Talent Karaoke. He did that for a long time, and it crossed my mind one day because being in a band is fantastic. I love it with all of my heart, but you do have to wrangle other people, and sometimes those people have their own plans. And I had wanted to do something, and I said, why don't I just do karaoke? I already have all of the equipment, and I would only need to depend on myself for that. So I picked up a few little jobs doing that. I think my first gig of this season for karaoke will be June 19th at the West Shore restaurant at the Lake Elminor West Grill.
Fun.
Yeah, so looking forward to that. And it's great because if you have your own business, and I know I'm going to be up late doing karaoke or music, I have a fantastic crew. I mean, after being here for 10, 11 years, the people that are with us they could run this place. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to be a little late tomorrow, and I can schedule that in, and they take care of it as if it were their own, as if I were here. So it's hard to think about doing anything else when you're just surrounded by so much competence and support. So, yeah.
That says a lot about you guys for having a good staff, because employees, I know, is one of the biggest struggles out here.
It is. And we know we still struggle, but we've got a really core group of people that have been with us for a while. The harder areas to get help is usually in the kitchen, because it's a skilled job, and it's hard to find people that want to make the culinary profession their career anymore. It just is. So, and we have a limited labor pool. So we generally find that if we can find somebody who's interested and gets a passion, okay, it's great. It's fine if you don't really have a lot of experience, because Heath is a fantastic culinary instructor. He will teach you every last little detail. As a matter of fact, he has been volunteering at the Lake Elminor Christian School and helping them with some culinary classes, and he really has a blast doing that. So we've got somebody, Isabella, if she's watching. She's been in the kitchen with him for a year and a half, maybe 2 now, and my husband actually just had a little medical scare in January, and he had to be in the hospital for a little bit, and Isabella just took control, like she had been running this place herself for a while. And so we're really fortunate that we were able to do that. And yeah, can't be more grateful for everybody who's involved.
Do you have any employees that have maybe shown interest in taking things over at the 13-year mark?
I mean, to some degree, I think Isabella would be interested. And then Dawn is, she washes dishes. She does everything around here. She supports Izzy on the line, does prep. She actually handmade those little wrapped pendants that you see hanging up there. So she's a little jeweler on the side.
Yeah.
And if perhaps I could mentor them in the business side of things, that's the scarier part, I think, for most people, is actually running the business, which I had no experience doing when we started this. I had done a little bit of management in the restaurant business, but nothing where I was responsible for the entire operation. So everything that I do, I totally learned as I went. And fortunately, we live in an age where there's a lot of information out there and available online. So, and then just trying things. I think we've tried pretty much anything that could be tried. We've tried it, and you figure out what works. And so here we are. And yeah, it'd be interesting to see if there's any value I could bring to future's next generation of entrepreneurs. And then running a business in this area is not like running a business anywhere else
At all. At all.
So there's a whole other learning curve, because in the wintertime, we kind of go, since there's many days where it's just me and my husband again. We were back down to a little mom and pop where we started. And then in the summertime, it's like, okay, full blown giant operation where you have to have different crews and hours. And so we've kept it kind of tight after COVID. We just focused really on breakfast and lunch. But now that we've got a strong kitchen crew again, we're hoping maybe to be able to offer some dinner service this year, potentially. I don't want to promise anything. I've learned that you cannot really make promises or plans because life sometimes will take you in other directions. So it's all about just try to be prepared for whatever ends up happening. Last year we did a lot of catering, which is something that we can execute really well. Between my husband, who had worked for the largest catering company in LA, he's catered events with thousands and thousands of people and celebrities. And so people will call and say, oh, we've got 100 people. Can you handle that? I'm just like, yeah, that's easy peasy for him. I've always had ideas to maybe add a few more products on the shelves, maybe some foods and things that we can, people can take with them home and use, whether it's sauces or dried goods. And we'll see. I'm full of ideas. It's my poor husband who has to try to execute them all. So he's a human, and he can do what he can do, which is already a lot. So.
I think the entrepreneur's brain, it never stops for us.
Yeah.
It never stops.
Which is kind of tough because in the wintertime when it slows down, that's when I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll start karaoke. Oh, let me book some more gigs. This is a great idea, honey. How about we do this? And then comes June and July, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, what did I do? What did I get myself into?
I totally know that feeling.
But when our gears are going and we're in full blast mode all summer long, I'm like, it's really just a couple of months, so you can do it.
Mm-hmm. That's what I tell myself too.
Right?
Yeah.
I feel like you're probably very similar.
Mm-hmm. It's like a standard distribution curve is what it is in statistics, and it's like slow, and then like, oh my god, it's huge, and then it like slows back down.
Yeah, but you can't say no because you really only get that one little window of opportunity to do all of the things that you are interested in and you love pursuing. And as long as my little body can keep up, I'll keep doing it.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever start something and then you said, you know what, actually I hard stop, I'm not interested in this actually?
Not that I can think of. No, I've been helping out. I'm the sitting past president of the Chamber of Commerce for the Chester Lake Almond area right now. And while I love that, I was like, okay, I'm glad there's a 2-year term because it's a lot to be involved in your own business. But I do feel like it's definitely a duty that we have to help that particular organization, although there's a lot of great organizations, but the Chamber sponsors a lot of different events, provides a lot of business insight and support services. And so that was tough to be able to peel away a little bit of time to make sure that I contributed to that. But I'm very proud to have done that. So,
did that give you any insight to like the inner workings of the community?
Oh, 100%. When I first started with the Chamber, I had no clue where these events came from, who planned them, who executed them, what they were even. I didn't know what to expect. And now I kind of feel I'm a little bit of a busybody know-it-all. So I really enjoy the fact that I know who does what now and how things work, and feel like I know so many people in the community, the movers and the shakers, and what's happening. And I like to be able to spread that information as much as I can when I do know something. So yeah, I feel like kind of a connecting force to some degree. So.
And your building is like a connecting force too, because there's Cravings here, and then the bookshop, and then the chamber at one time was upstairs.
They were upstairs. The Lake Almaner Foundation has their offices up there right now, and that actually was part of the original scheme or the concept when Susan from B&B Booksellers wanted to move in down here. We wanted this to be a little bit of a hub, and she would call it third space.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So you've got home, work, and then there's your third space where you can maybe connect with other people, have a coffee, get information. So we try to make sure that we've got our entryway full of all of the different flyers and whatever else is going on in town. Yeah, I mean, fortunately, we get pretty busy. And so sometimes it's just really hectic. And so we're trying to create a little more space outside of the eating area that people can still come in and have a slower pace and not feel pressured to get up and leave. So somebody needs the table.
Right.
So as long as the weather is nice, we've got really nice outdoor areas and picnic tables. And sometimes I joke, and people say, when I ask them where they want to sit, I'm like, do you want to picnic on the lawn? Just kidding, I don't serve out there.
It's beautiful out there, and you have the creek, and I love this sunroom area here.
Yeah. I call those the front row seats because you can see all the action in town, which is really just Holiday across the street, or people driving a little too fast on Main Street. But yeah, it's great. So.
And so this was B&B, was that the?
B&B Booksellers was the first iteration of the bookstore. We're now on our fourth owner since we have become roommates. Susan, at that time, was really involved in the chamber. She actually was the one who kind of revived it. It had fallen by the wayside a little bit. And then after her time there was finished, and actually when the fire happened, she recognized that there was a big need for more of a responsive agency. And so that's where she found that the foundation was an organization that needed to happen. So she moved in that direction. And when that became her main focus, she decided to sell the bookstore, something that she had started because she didn't want to live in a town that didn't have a bookstore. And I don't blame her. And then she sold to Krista, who owns Forever Home and Outdoor. And Krista had it as a little sister store for a little bit. And then Karen came along, Karen was an author. And so it was a really nice fit. And but she has a life circumstance that's taking her out of the area now. So I was telling my employee, Richard, I said, oh, yeah, the bookstore's for sale. And his eyes lit up. He's like, what? It is? And I said, yeah. I said, I sure hope somebody takes it over because I don't want to live in a town without a bookstore. And it was so cute because he said, I won't let that happen. And next thing I know, he's bought the bookstore. So he's the fourth owner, and he just had his grand opening this last weekend. And he's a very young man, maybe 22, I think, local kid. He started working for us when he was about 14. So the past 8 years, he's got fantastic parents, but I do feel like we've contributed a little bit to his upbringing. And I'm really proud of who he is. He's a very professional young man, very smart, very curious, very caring about his family and the world around him. And he's hoping to bring a little bit more nerdiness, as he says, to the bookstore, where if you have interest in things like Magic, the card game, or Dungeons and Dragons. And I said, oh, what a great, fantastic idea. I'm like, if you bring more games and things into this, the retail space, I think that would go over really well with our visitors and locals alike. So I'm excited to see where he goes and where he takes it. It's his first foray into business. And so I'm like, hey, I'm right here though. You have any questions, let me know. And so, yeah, hoping to mentor him a little bit, wishing him success.
What were some of your biggest learning curves becoming a business owner?
It's the nuts and the bolts. Like I'm an idea person. I have a lot of fun coming up with ideas and designing concepts. but man, I don't want to collect receipts and do taxes and turn paperwork in on time. I hate that so much. It's just a necessary evil. So even 11 years later, I feel like, okay, finally going to get my spreadsheets in order so that I can do the right kind of business analysis and find the right kind of software that's going to help me stay on track of things. So that's the hard part. And that's something I bring up at the chamber meetings is, these would be great support services because I think a lot of entrepreneurs are idea people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's getting down to, oh, you mean I have to report and keep track of things and, make concurrent plans like how to save the money that you're going to have to pay in taxes. A lot of times that's not something that people realize until it's too late. So we'll see if we can bring some programs that will help entrepreneurs in the area be on more steady foundation in that regards.
Yeah, I think that's been one of the common threads throughout all the women that I've met in business. ADHD and taxes. Those are the two common talking points.
Yeah. Definitely have the ADHD going strong around here. But it's good. I think it keeps us on our toes. It keeps us interesting. And I don't know. I've also developed a lot of necessary skills. Like I was mentioning earlier as well to you before the camera started rolling, I'm more of an introverted person. I wouldn't call myself a people person, but I do believe that I've developed that skill. And so when ADHD rears its ugly head, I'm like, okay, focus. Or I know now that, I used to be overwhelmed by the to-do list, and it would really cause me anxiety to not be able to complete a to-do list. But now there's actually, I think it was the CEO of Yahoo, and it was a while ago, but she was the mother of several young children. And she mentioned, you're never going to finish your to-do list. Just pick the top 3 or 4 most important things and do those and then come back to it tomorrow. I'm like, you're right. So as long as I take care of the fires and accomplish the big goals that I have for the day, the rest will wait. And I know a lot of people sometimes can't sleep at night because their brain is just going and going and going. I never have that problem.
Oh, really?
I never have that problem because I'm like, you know what? It's going to be there in the morning. Just go to sleep now, get your rest. And when you wake up, you will be refreshed and have the energy. And it does. It all comes back. And of course, with my smartphone, I'm constantly like, hey, set a reminder for tomorrow at 8 a.m. And with those things and the calendar, it's actually, it helps keep me on track. And when I feel overwhelmed, I'm like, okay, what's the very first step to get this job done? Just get your computer out. Just get your computer out, plug it in, turn it on. That's easy. And then, then you open up your program and you just kind of break it down into even the stupidest, smallest little steps. The next thing you know, you've done your giant chore. You develop the skills over time that help you get where you want to go. And then you try to remember, hey, this is life. You're supposed to be living it also. Like, don't just be focused on, oh, I haven't done this or I need to do that. Enjoy yourself while you're doing it. And if you let the anxiety of the undone tasks weigh you down all the time, like, what's the point? You really have to enjoy what you do. So that's one of the big reasons that I continue to actually wait tables in my own restaurant every day, is because I am really motivated by the impact that we have on people every day. And I can kind of wake up in a grumpy mood and maybe feel a little bit down or defeated. And then I get here and I get to move in and I see, Bob and Sue, and then just things start falling into place. And I'm just like really grateful for everything, all the people that come in and the interactions that we get to have. And I've done restaurant work in a lot of different areas, and I've been treated a lot of not so great ways when you're just a stranger who's serving somebody else. And this is the most amazing place that you could be in the service industry, because you're not a servant. You're helping your friends and your family. You're providing an experience, and it really doesn't hurt that my husband makes great food, and people are always excited to eat it. So, you know, so yeah.
Yeah, I can attest that your BLTs are the best. They are not stingy with the bacon around here. Okay.
That's what it's about.
Right.
Yeah. And that was always an interesting thing. People would be like, oh, this is the best turkey sandwich I've ever had. And I'm like, it's just turkey and bread. But we've always been committed to getting quality ingredients. You know, we slice our own turkey. We use turkey sourdough bread, which everybody loves. And just making sure everything's fresh. I get compliments on the most random things, like the fruit cup. Your fruit cup's the best, freshest fruit. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's because I'm literally across the street at Holiday every morning buying fresh fruit. And I mean, I'm picking up oranges and be like, that one doesn't feel like it's juicy enough. And then I'll grab the next one. So just paying attention to the little details as much as you can, but also not sweating the little details sometimes. You just have to let things go at some points. But we do try to just fresh and tasty is kind of always been my motto. I think when we first opened, I was under the impression that Chester was a little too remote to get fresh food. And that's why people relied on frozen things that they would throw in the fryer. But then once we started learning, like, no, actually, there's deliveries a couple times a week, and there's more than one company to choose from, and there's really no reason to have that kind of menu. You can have fresh food. It also helps that we don't have a huge refrigeration or freezer space. So it's like we constantly have to be bringing in new inventory for making food. So yeah, it's possible. It takes a little extra work, but if I don't believe in it, I wouldn't do it. So people will come and ask, what's your favorite thing on the menu, or what's good on the menu? I'm just like, oh man, it's all delicious. Like if it's not delicious, we just didn't even put it on the menu. And so I usually make a little joke like, well, you know, they're like my kids. They're all wonderful for their own reasons. Like, who's being nicest to me today? That's my favorite. So.
And you, correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys do not have chicken fried steak because you don't have a fryer.
Correct. Yeah, we do not have a fryer, and we've never had a fryer. And it's not really because it's an intentional decision. It just wasn't a piece of equipment that we could fit under the hood space that we had. When we were down in Old Town, it's the little teeny tiny building that's right next to AmeriGas across the street from the old bike shop. I mean, the entire restaurant could have fit in this room. And the hood was maybe 4 or 5 feet. It really wasn't very big. And then we moved to this space, and we got a little bit more hood space, but we needed, you know, that area for the more griddle, more burners and stuff, because we had to serve so many more people at the same time. So there just hasn't been room to put a fryer. And, you know, I think not having French fries, some days it does suck. Like I would love to have some French fries, but when I have them now, they're a real treat. And I just always tell people, I'm like, yeah, healthy whether you like it or not. And then they laugh, and then they get Heath's slaw, and they're like, oh, this is the best slaw I've ever had. Or the soup, best tomato soup. Like, I don't even like tomato soup, but I always tell people, I'm like, no, this is a magic potion. This is not, even my kids like this tomato soup. So, so having other options makes up for the fact that we don't have a fryer. And then, you know, everything is grilled and fresh and tasty, and there we go again, fresh and tasty.
And we were talking off camera about how you are really conscientious. Like, you have a lot of sugar-free syrups and...
Yes, yeah, a lot of sugar-free syrups, alternative milks for the drinks. And then we have so many gluten-free items. I actually was gluten-free for almost 2 years. I had some arthritis flare-ups, and I went maybe 2 nights in a row to the emergency room because the pain was unbearable. And I was like, I just need to sleep because I have to get up in the morning to run a restaurant. There's no sick days, you know? So it was one of the nurses that just kind of came in like she floated in and looked at the chart. She's like, you know, gluten really aggravates my arthritis. And then she floated out again. And I never saw her. I'm like, was that an angel? And so I gave it a go. And like 2 days after I stopped eating gluten, all of my symptoms went away.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. So my husband became really familiar with making gluten-free food. And so we do gluten-free waffles, pancakes, French toast. We have gluten-free buns for burgers, bread. Um, every once in a while, he'll do some gluten-free goodies, but honestly, they get eaten up a little faster than they get sold. So sometimes I'm like, let's wait until the busy season. Otherwise, we're all going to eat those brownies, and it'll just be a lost dollars. So yeah, we do that, and then different, any dietary issues that people might have. If they can't do dairy, then we have a lot of alternatives, and we're just really careful. If you're allergic to, I got a customer who's allergic to grapes, and so he can't have anything that's been made with wine. So we'll make sure, does our Dijon mustard have wine in it? Okay. And just being conscientious. Also dealing with people with celiac who aren't just sensitive to gluten, but are highly allergic. They are very well versed back there in how to create clean surfaces to work in, use fresh pans. Obviously, we do use glutinous items, so we just try to let people know, use your own discretion, but tell us you're celiac and we'll take every precaution possible. And, vegetarians, especially with like the PCT hikers, I've noticed we get a lot of vegan or vegetarians that come on the trail. Mm-hmm. And so we have a lot of items that either don't have meat, or if you wanted to, you could add meat. We use a soy chorizo, which it's funny because it wasn't really even a plan to create that as a vegetarian oriented dish. But when we tried this particular soy chorizo, it was so good that I'm just like, chorizo Benedict, put it in the burritos, make a nice hash out of it. And it's actually a chorizo that isn't carried by any vendor, and we have to drive either to Reno or Chico to pick it up.
Wow.
And it's worth it. So yeah, we make chorizo runs.
So it's not Cisco.
No, it's not.
That's a huge flex.
Yeah. And like, I'll drive 2 hours to go get it because it's that good.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine not having it on the menu now.
Soy riso, right? That's what they
soy
call
riso,
it.
they call it. Yeah, I don't know. Everybody's a little different. I just try to get the accent, chorizo.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I'm not even going to try.
So yeah, and we can make a lot of different modifications. We try to say on the menu, whether it's gluten-free or vegetarian, or whether it can be made that way. And people are usually just, especially gluten-free people, they're just like, oh my gosh, I can actually eat here. Like, yes, you can fill your belly. I remember one time I was craving French toast or something so bad, and we were eating out, and I was like, well, just can you French toast your gluten-free buns for me? Like, I'm just desperate. And they did it, and it wasn't that great. Right. But I was willing to eat anything. And so it's just nice that you really don't have to modify your cravings when you come to eat here.
How did you guys come up with the name Cravings?
Gosh, it was so long ago. We were throwing a lot of different things out, and I like clever things. So there were a few different ideas that I was like, I don't know. That just, like, one was True Grits. I'm like, that's cute, but we're not really a grits eating community. And so, honestly, I think it was just a stroke of luck, or God, or somebody put it in my ear, and I'm like, Cravings. Yeah, that's perfect. Mm-hmm. So that's a lot of ideas come if you just be receptive.
That's true.
Yeah.
If you're open to it.
Yeah.
So you are on your 11th year now. How have you seen the community change? What changes have you seen in that time?
The interesting thing about the area is it changes, but it doesn't really change, which is kind of nice. I call it a blessed curse to some degree, that sometimes the development ideas that people approach the community with don't ever really get traction. I mean, they do. We've definitely developed over the years, but we haven't turned into Tahoe or Truckee. And a lot of people are usually worried, we don't want to be Tahoe or Truckee. I'm like, yeah, nobody does. But we want to be healthy. We want to have a healthy economy. And we're fortunate we have a lot of people, like, for example, Susan and the foundation, and the Plymouth County Tourism, that are really trying to focus on keeping things flowing up here. Small Business Development Council is constantly trying to keep business information in front of us and help us figure out what the trends are and how to go. And so I would say it's diversified a little bit more, especially as it relates to our industry, the restaurant industry. I mean, when we opened, like I said, there weren't a lot of options. And I remember we started biscuits and gravy, and our biscuits are square and our plates are square. And my husband always garnishes every plate with a little bit of chopped green onion. And I just remember people were like, "What are these green things on my biscuits?" And I'm like, "Just try it, you'll love it." And sure enough, people started opening up their palates. And now, and I think that became a demand for more diverse cuisine. And so, Timber House is back open. We've got Bing's doing sushi in town, which when we started, sushi was like, if you're lucky, you can get it once a week at one of the restaurants that was doing a special. Now we've got Aslan's doing Mediterranean, which is one of my favorite cuisines. And so, yeah, there's just been kind of an unfurling of multiple cuisines and more places, more choices, which is good for everyone, really, because now Chester, I think, is, instead of being known as a food desert, it's more of like, oh, let's go to Chester. They've got cool options.
Mm-hmm.
And people come all the time from like Susanville, which is a bigger community, and they're just like, oh, we wish we had something like you there. I'm like, oh, sorry, I can only do this one time. So yeah, that's kind of how it's changed over the years. And when I was a kid going to school here, it's changed from those days, which was 30 some odd years ago. It has turned a little more into a vacation or retirement community than it used to be, which people will, argue for and against. I'd like to see more families move back to the area. When I was a kid, a lot of my friends lived in the country club, and there were just a lot of local families. And I'd say that it's turned more into summer homes and vacation homes. So, which is partially good for the economy, but I would like to see us make a push now for year-round residents. And there's a great program that's coming out, the county is doing, called Move in Plumas.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just poised, waiting to, like, when they finally pull the trigger on that, try to get the word out to some people that I think would be really beneficial members of the community. So hopefully we'll get some folks from that. And and I've also, as part of one of my 6 jobs I was telling you that I have, I've recently started doing marketing for St. Andrew's Academy, which a lot of people don't realize. When we moved up here, I think my in-laws, who are all from the city, they were a little hesitant because they felt in a rural community that the education system might struggle. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, I thought when I graduated from high school there, I thought we had a good program. And I don't think people realize there are actually options. So there's a place where you can go get a classical private education. And I'm really excited actually about helping them market it, because I do feel that over the past few decades, the curriculum in public schools has kind of gone down a road that I'm not excited about. Mm-hmm. It made it really hard for me as a parent to assist my child with her homework, because they've integrated math now. There's not like algebra and geometry anymore. Like, oh, I know algebra, I know this. And they would send her home with worksheets with just problems, but no example problem like we used to have, or no explanation. And so I'm just, honey, I'm sorry, I don't remember how to do this stuff. It's been so long. And there was a little while there she was struggling with just learning some basics. I think it was maybe 2nd grade. And bless the people at the elementary school. I mean, they really, especially Mrs. I'm blanking on her name, Kelly. She was the kindergarten teacher. She even brought her own kids in to read with my daughter and try to tutor her a little bit. And but ultimately, you have to decide what's best for the kid. And so they would start putting her in lesser performing groups. And I was like, oh, it's not that she's not doesn't have the capability. She just needs more individualized instruction. And so I was able to put her at St. Andrews for a couple of years. And I swear, in the first few weeks, she was learning the old way that I remember learning, where you learn a song and suddenly you know all of the states and all their capitals. And I'm an English major, but she could deconstruct a sentence with more detail and knowledge than I can. So I'm really excited to help spread the word that there's actually still education like that available. And sorry to give them a little plug, but if you're a local family and you're thinking about private education for your child, they do a local sliding scale. So they just asked me, what can you afford? And I said, well, I can do this much. And they said, okay, so I think it can be scary because people think a private education is out of reach financially. But if you're paying for any childcare right now, it's going to be less than what you're already paying for childcare.
That's great to know.
So highly recommend them. And something, like I said, that's probably my 6th job. And I couldn't say no because I believe in it so much.
Well, especially it's good to know that they do a sliding scale and that there are those options there, because our county school district is not
It's in a hard place right now.
Yeah.
I know a lot of the people that are involved, and they're wonderful people, and they're doing their very best. But it's hard when you are limited in what you can actually accomplish because of regulations of the state, federal. Going to a private school, they can do anything they want, and what they want to do is form your child to the best of their ability. So I'm really into that.
So you're getting ready to approach the 13 year.
Yeah.
Any plans, or are you just kind of open to anything? What do you think is next for you?
We were hoping to maybe transition to something that was a little less full time. My husband is getting close to retirement age. He's a little bit older than I am, and I work him like he's half his age. I really do. And God bless him, he just gets up and does it every single day. We were hoping at some point maybe he'd like to maybe do a food truck.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
Which would give him a little more flexibility. I mean, he's been stuck. This is kind of a little bit of a prison, because he never gets to leave the kitchen. And it would be nice if he could take his truck to other locations. And there's a lot of events and different things that go on in the area that would benefit from another food option. And then, like I said, catering was kind of taking off last year, and it would be really helpful to have a truck. He could go do more catering events like that. So maybe something along those lines. And then he, like I said, is really gifted when it comes to culinary instruction. And I'd love to see anything in that direction, whether we put on more classes that he can open to the public, or if he pursues more school appearances, that would be really good for him. And then as for me, I don't know. It's so funny. I mean, I have so many things going on. I can't even conceptualize what it would look like, but I know it'll be a lot of stuff. Just whatever else is interesting me.
Yeah. And what is the name of your karaoke business?
Karaoke Queen.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I think I followed you on Facebook.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So follow on Facebook, and I do make events when I know when I'm going to be somewhere, and then you'll know when you can head on out and join us. For that particular software that I use, I really did a lot of research. When my dad was doing karaoke, you were very limited. You could buy CDs, and you'd have the same catalog over and over and over. Next thing I know, I'm like, Dad, all your songs are 20 years old. And so I was really specifically looking for a service that was constantly updated, that was cloud-based, and was as extensive as possible. So what I found is all of those things. And people come to me and they're like, hey, do you have this song? And I've never heard of it. I'm like, well, I'll search it. And hey, yeah, I do have it. Also, a lot of Spanish language songs. Sometimes we'll get some visitors that They want to sing songs in their own language. And I'm like, oh yeah, just if you can spell it for me, I'll find it. And then there's, different like themes that you can do. They could be like Disney. So if you have a kids party or something and you want to focus on Disney songs, those are all available. Christmas songs, just all kinds of things. I was even thinking maybe for the next tree lighting merchants night thing that we do, maybe we'll do like a Christmas karaoke to bring
really
people in. Yeah,
fun.
it's kind of hard on this side of town. That's the one downside to this particular location is when they do the merchant tree lighting, merchants night, etc. It's all at that end of town, and the focus is on Old Town. So I was like, what are we gonna do to let people know that we're having a blast down here, and they should stop by. Especially now that Richard is here, I want to do anything possible to help create excitement and draw people down so that they can, I don't benefit a lot personally when we do merchants night because people are giving away food and beverages, and by the time they get here there's not a whole lot they want to buy from me. But if I can do something that's gonna just add to the community event and maybe get some support for Richard, then by all means.
Yeah, like an after party.
Yeah,
After
right?
party down
That's
the way.
a great idea.
Yeah,
so
karaoke
brand
after
it that
party.
way.
Yeah, hey, have it, it's yours.
She gets all the credit though.
I'll have a VIP seat, please.
Yes, you will. You get the first song.
That would be great. And any advice that you have for women who are looking to change their lifestyle from a city to mountain town, or open a business, or juggle motherhood with all that?
Yeah, I think baby steps is a good word of advice. I think when we were kind of conceptualizing the different things, and actually we've had multiple concepts over the years, but this was the one that we actually started and engaged. And at first you come up, we're like, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And you just have everything planned out, the whole entire big picture. And it actually becomes overwhelming to try to launch the big picture. So don't launch the big picture. Start with one little baby step. And just, maybe I'll just open. I mean, we started with maybe 10, 15 seats or something in the little cafe that we had. And at that time I was taking, if somebody wanted, they ordered, for example, she wanted cute little packages of Christmas goods. So I spent way too many hours making individual little Christmas, like a little bit of eggnog this and fudge that and this, that. And that was really fun, but I realized it wasn't a good business idea to do that. And I was happy to be able to provide that for her that one time, but then I was like, that's not a direction I'm going to go in. And you can't really make those kind of decisions unless you do things one step at a time. And then you know what works. Because as much as this is about ideas and fun, at the end of the day, you have to be sustainable. And I had another friend who approached me. She wanted to open a little sandwich shop, and she wanted to be like in Europe where they individually wrap each little sandwich and put little bows on them. And I'm like, well, honey, you're going to have to do that 200 times a day just to pay rent. So think about it. Just think about it. And then, just don't be afraid to try new things. Like I said, I've had plenty of bad ideas that maybe they weren't bad ideas, but they just weren't sustainable ideas. And don't be afraid to pivot. Don't be afraid to focus as well. We used to be open more hours, and especially when we had with COVID, and then we had a great second chef, John Price, and he was phenomenal. Like right up there, he'd had his own restaurant. He was fully aware of how things should go. He could meet my husband right where at the peak of busyness and not be shy, just put the pedal to the metal. And unfortunately, he got sick, and he did recently pass away. And he just was completely irreplaceable, absolutely irreplaceable. And so when it became just my husband in the kitchen, we just had to kind of rein it in a little bit. And so we have shortened hours now, and 8 to 2, and we're closed 2 days a week. I call those mental health days. I'm like, I'm sorry. Yeah, we just need those days so that when we are here and we're open, we're refreshed. We're always putting that quality, that consistent quality in front of you. And it's more important to be consistent, put out the product that you're proud of, than it is to execute all of the ideas all the time. So I know it's hard because the ideas are fun.
Right, that's the fun part.
Yeah, but you really have to balance practicality with all of that. So.
Anything else that you'd like to share or touch base on or plug in or?
Oh man, you really let me ramble. So no, I think we've done a good job. Just I've talked a little about all the different projects that I'm involved in. Just try to stay grounded too. That's an important part. Be kind to yourself. Have grace for yourself. I could certainly beat myself up because I'm a year late on taxes, but I'm not. I'm just putting my nose to the grindstone, and I'm gonna get them done. And I hope my accountant doesn't fire me. But they'll get done, And at the end of the day, just every single night, I literally pray. I'm just like, gosh, thank you for this wonderful day. Thank you for the resources, for the opportunities, for just the accomplishments, the support. And when you constantly look back in gratitude or look ahead with hope, it really frames your experience. And I think being in this community really emphasizes that. If I were anywhere else, I don't know that I'd be able to be as constantly focused on the positive, because it just helps when you're surrounded by great people who want you to succeed and really care. If you're ever uncertain that the people around you like you and love you, just have a medical emergency.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, no. I mean, literally every single person in this town was aware that my husband was sick. He was on the prayer list for every single church, and everybody reached out to me. I couldn't walk through the grocery store without somebody like, "Oh, Christi, how's Heath?" And it really brought home that people care, and that's irreplaceable. So.
Well, thank you so much for your time today. And I learned so much about this place and your story. And like I said, I've been coming to Lake Elsinore since I was a kid. And I remember this was one of the places that I came with my grandfather, who's since passed away, and my grandma's still here, and my aunt. So this is definitely a staple to the community.